soft miles back, still we go. The late boomers, the late boomers, heart still young, hands still sure. The late boomers still here, we carry on. This is the late boomers.
I don't remember the first song that got my attention, but I do remember the first instrument that did. It was my brother's Sunburst acoustic guitar. I don't even know if I understood what it was at the time, but every time I saw it, it pulled at me. There was just something about it. My first stringed instrument was a $9 ukulele my parents bought me from the Air Force Base Exchange. And like every kid in the 60s who picked up a ukulele, however many there were, I learned the song everybody knew. Tiptoe Through the Tulips. Dreadful song, but I learned it. And that was enough to start something. A few years later, in the 70s, my parents bought me an acoustic folk guitar for Christmas. That's when things changed. I started learning songs from artists I barely knew at the time. The Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and especially Simon and Garfunkel. Their melodies got to me. I was never a great singer, so I tried to make up for it with the guitar. I wanted to learn every note. I wanted to figure out how songs worked. I didn't just like music, I wanted to be near it. And for a while, I was. In school, I played violin in the orchestra, 4th grade. Then I tried clarinet, 5th grade. Later, after we moved to Maryland from Alabama, I joined the marching band and played trombone. That turned into concert band and then stage band. By my senior year, I became the guitar player for the stage band. There was only one problem. I didn't have an electric guitar. My dad, believing all guitars were pretty much alike, bought me a no-name SG-style electric guitar from Service Merchandise for $25. He also bought me a 5-watt amp with tremolo for $25. They weren't fancy, they weren't professional, but to me, they were mine. And when I made the tryout for stage band guitarist, Dad kept his word and helped me get a bigger amp. I didn't know brands. I didn't know what I was looking for. We ended up with a custom brand lead amp. But to me, that thing rocked. In 1980, the stage band went to compete in the Knoxville Dogwood Arts Festival. I remember being overwhelmed. There I was with my cheap guitar, suddenly in a much bigger setting than I was used to. Thankfully, they supplied an amp, and the saxophone player in our band lent me his Fender Stratocaster. At the time, I didn't fully appreciate what that guitar was. I just knew it was heavy and real. And somehow, I played. And I wasn't half bad if I do say so myself. After high school, though, music changed. I graduated, started working, went through college, relationships, jobs, and life. I still played, but mostly in the bedroom. Music became something I did in the background. I knew I could play in front of people, but I never really pursued it. And to this day, I regret that a little. Not because I thought I was going to be some rock god. I didn't think that. But I do wonder what might have happened if I had taken it more seriously. If I had pushed a little harder. If I'd found the right people. The right place. The right moment. But life has a way of filling up spaces where dreams used to sit. Over the years, I bought and sold guitars and amps. Nothing too fancy, nothing too professional, just enough to keep that part of me alive. Then later in life, my mother passed away and left me a little inheritance. I decided maybe it was now or never. So I bought my first real brand name guitar, an Epiphone SG. That one filled my AC/DC itch. Then came the Fender Stratocaster I found in a pawn shop. I went back to go buy it and was heartbroken to find out it was already gone. What I didn't know was that Kathy had gone ahead of me and bought it. She even talked them down on the price. That's a good woman right there. At that time, we were living in the Shoals area, Muscle Shoals, Alabama, a place with more music history than most towns could ever dream of. If I was ever going to do something musical, it felt like that should have been the place. We had a house big enough for me to turn one room into a music studio, and little by little, that room grew. Guitars, amps, microphones, mixing board, electronic drums, lighting, a bass, pedals, enough equipment to make music, or at least enough to make me feel like music was still possible. And when family came over, that room came alive. People would play. We'd make noise. We'd laugh. We pretended we knew what we were doing. One of my nieces once said, Aunt Kathy and Uncle Tom's house is the fun house. That meant more to me than she probably knew. Because that was exactly what I wanted that room to be. Not a professional studio, not some big dream factory. Just a place where music could happen. Then life changed again. I retired. We sold the house. We stored what we didn't sell and lived on a boat in the Gulf for a while. Eventually, we sold the boat and moved into another house in the area. I unpacked the music gear once again, but something was different. Later, we moved back into the Shoals to be closer to family. We found a house in Muscle Shoals, but it was smaller. I still managed to turn one small bedroom into a studio. And it looked good. Maybe too good. The guitars were on the wall, the drums were in the corner, the lights were right, the amps and pedals were ready. But the room didn't have that soul. The kids had kids of their own. Visits were different. Life was quieter. There were naps, schedules, and little ones in the house. And you couldn't just crank up the amps and make a joyful racket anymore. So the studio mostly sat there. Beautiful, ready, unused. And that became hard to look at. For most of my life, I couldn't walk past a guitar without picking it up. Even if I played a few chords, I had to touch it. But now those guitars just hung there, taunting me. Every now and then, I'd take one down, wipe off the dust, strum a little, and hang it right back up. Then I noticed something even stranger. I wasn't just losing interest in playing music. I was losing interest in listening to it. That wasn't like me at all. I was the kid who had a quadraphonic receiver before most of my friends even knew what that was. I always loved audio gear. I always loved sound. I always had music around me. And now, I didn't even turn on the car radio. I don't know exactly what changed. Age, regret, tiredness, maybe just a different season? I still don't really know. After a few years of walking past that unused studio, I finally told Kathy I was thinking about taking it all down. She didn't want me to, and I understood why. She met me when I loved to play. She watched the music room grow. She was part of those family gatherings. She knew that room represented more than guitars and amps. It represented a version of me. But one weekend, while she was away, I finally did it. I took everything off the walls. I put the guitars back in their cases. I stored things in closets. I patched the holes. I painted the room. And I turned the music studio into a podcast studio, or I guess now a YouTube studio. And honestly, I like it. It fits who I am right now. But I couldn't completely let it go. So I kept my Takumi acoustic hanging on the wall, and I kept my Laney acoustic amp nearby, using it as an end table just in case. Every now and then I still feel the tug. Not often. Not strong enough to make me pull everything back out. But it's still there. A little reminder of who I used to be. I miss that person sometimes, and I think Kathy does too. I don't know if the music really died. Maybe it did. Maybe that part of my life slowly faded out without me noticing. Or maybe the music didn't die at all. Maybe it just got quiet. Maybe it's just sitting there behind me, and that guitar on the wall, and that little amp beside me, waiting for the day I wake up from this slumber and reach for it again. I don't know. But for now, they're still there, waiting.